If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims. Welcome, Stuart.
Hiya.
I am going to introduce Stuart, who has an incredible profile. He's an executive, entrepreneur, inventor, researcher, consultant, trainer, and coach. He's the developer of the Cybernetic Transposition and Shared Vision leadership systems and 6 trainings, including the Super Entrepreneur Training. Wow, I'm going to have to experience that. He is the author of How to Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast. Okay, don't we all need that? How to Become a Highly Successful Entrepreneur, Make Your Life a 10, and Leaping Past Armageddon to a Paradise on Earth, which is coming soon?
Yes.
Coming soon. Okay. Stuart's formal education includes undergraduate and graduate work at MIT, and he's conducted extensive research on the unconscious, intuitive basis of success, which is I'm so in alignment with, and what this show is about, Zen success. And he's done research on the individual and collective operation of the human mind. He's trained more than 100,000 people around the world in cybernetic transposition, thus empowering them to consistently achieve seemingly impossible objectives. He has taught the heads of state of the US, UK, and the CEOs of many Fortune 500 companies and their leading groups around the world, as well as their employees, to do seemingly impossible things. Welcome, Stuart.
Happy to be here, Carissa.
Yes. Well, share a little bit more about this concept that you were talking about called Cybernetic Transposition. I have actually never heard of that.
Well, that's because I made up the name.
Good. And you trademarked it?
Of course. Here's how it worked out. I had a near-death experience about 54 years ago. And I met God, you know, the usual thing. And it is the ultimate loving joy, acceptance. I was given a choice of coming back to complete what I agreed to do karmically, or staying in that much nicer place. I decided,
you mean of like dying?
Yeah, well, I was near death. I was dead for 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
That seems like a long time.
It's supposed to be impossible to come back from that.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Little did they know.
Little did they know who you were, right?
Little did they know what God can produce.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's go deeper into that experience, because what was that like for you actually dying, and how did it feel coming back?
Well, words are not really possible.
Got it.
It was, if you take the most joyful experience, most loving experience you've had in your life and multiply it by 1 million, you're about there. Or maybe. Now, I was given a choice. What I'd taken on for this lifetime were 2 things. One was to teach people to transcend the Luciferian aura of the world that made life hell. And the second one was to help mankind transcend the rush to Armageddon where we've been before, and to live in a paradise on earth. I spent 42 years taking what God had given me, testing it, improving it to the point where 100% of my online coachees achieved their first seemingly impossible objective first try. That is, if they did most of the assigned work. And most of the assigned work, historically, about 82% of them did it the first time. And if they gave me feedback, I let them go through training free again. And almost all of them achieved it second time because they did the work. Now, it's very logical, and we've been given all the pieces necessary to be incredibly successful and able to do seemingly impossible things. The pieces that we have are usually denigrated. They are daydreaming, hindsight, and things of that sort. In my new book, I'll show you, I'm proud of the cover.
Yes, it's an amazing cover. Okay, turn it around. It's upside down. Turn it around.
Oh my gosh, sorry about that.
There you go. Make your life a 10.
Yeah, I have a nice fiber artist do that for me. So, in that book, I tell you how to first do a roadmap, or you might call it a bucket list if you want. If you're like, I'm 84 years old, maybe at my age you call it a bucket list of what it takes to make your life a paradise on earth.
Oh, wow. Does this have to also tying into cybernetic transposition? Is that what you're going to talk about?
That's the first step.
But
let me tell you about the name. When I was at MIT, I used to see a very absent-minded looking professor with very thick glasses walking down the halls. His name was Norbert Wiener. He invented cybernetic. And cybernetics deals with the incredible complexity of the world. If you take almost any situation that we encounter in our life, there are millions of alternatives, like deciding to go on a picnic, whether or not to go on a picnic with your family. You'd be amazed. There are over 1 million alternatives that you have to decide about now. The world is very complicated.
yes.
And the conscious mind can only handle usually a maximum of 3 things at once.
Okay.
Okay, try this, Carissa. Look up at a corner of your room.
Okay.
Now you can see simultaneously length, width, and height, right?
I can simultaneously see light. Is that what you asked me?
Length, width, and height.
Length, width, and height. Yes.
Okay, 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see if you can add a 4th dimension, which would be seeing that corner of your room simultaneously at midnight last night and when you got up this morning. You can do that. You're one of only a few people who can.
I couldn't do it simultaneously. I had to shift one to the other. Yeah. That's what your point is, right? Is like
you can only really experience in 3 dimensions. Now, the dimensionality of the world is in the millions.
Mm.
Consciously, 3 dimensions versus millions, obviously the conscious mind is not going to be able to do it. The unconscious, on the other hand, it consists of the 200 billion neurons, neurons, which might be considered computers, that are connected by about 7 trillion synapses. That is on the order of the complexity of the world. And so that is the part of us that can successfully deal with the world. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So hold on just a second while I fiddle a little bit with my computer. Something just ziggled and you disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And since I like seeing your beautiful face, I'm going to try one more time to zoom back. Okay, so in any case, what cybernetic transposition is about is consciously managing your unconscious mind.
Consciously managing. Would that be like hiring a hypnotherapist?
No, that would excuse me, that would be like you learning to clearly in English carry on a two-way conversation with a part of you that runs things, but is usually unavailable to you consciously.
Right. But let's give an example. Let's give an example for people to handle that.
Sure.
So that I understand, really, it's for me.
No problem at all. Have you ever had the experience of having an intuitive feeling about something?
Yes.
Intuitively, that seems like a great restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, using the technique that I started out teaching you in cybernetic transposition, you focus on your heart chakra in the center of your chest, and you say, what do you mean by this intuitive feeling? And pops into your conscious mind either a blank or a clear message. Now, for most people, it's a blank because you spent your whole life since you were about 6 years old developing conscious stuff that hides all of your unconscious awareness.
Fascinating.
Conscious mind is verbal. The unconscious mind is in the language of experiences, emotions, flow, and so forth. The two are two different languages. Now, here's a very simple way of communicating with your unconscious. Let's say you suddenly find you have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 1-minute way to cure a headache without medication. You focus on the headache.
Okay.
You imagine what color it is, and you write that down.
Okay.
Then
I had a friend who had a migraine the other day. I could have given her this tip.
Very simple. So first thing, color. Second, you imagine the liquid volume. How much liquid would it take to fill your headache. It might be a quart, might be an ocean. You write that down. The third thing is you imagine the temperature. Imagine that you're reaching out, touching the headache. What temperature is it? You write that down. And then you imagine what sound the headache might be making. Now, you do that a couple of times, and suddenly the color is clearer, volume is 0, the temperature is body temperature, and the sound is either quiet or very harmonious. And you suddenly realize, no headache, it's gone. The way that worked was you consciously communicated with your unconscious.
I see.
What you were telling it, what you wanted to get rid of. See, before you did this, you had a headache, and you were thinking, how do I get rid of this headache? What medication should I take? Oh my gosh, this is awful. And the unconscious really didn't know what you wanted to get rid of. By this simple thing of focusing constantly on your headache as required to answer these 4 simple questions a few times in a row, you told your unconscious exactly what you wanted to get rid of, and it went, whoop, no more headache. That's one way of communicating with your unconscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's interesting. I communicated when I was diagnosed with cancer. I communicated with, I guess it's my unconscious. I would talk to the cells in my body. I would talk to my organs and ask them if they had a message for me, or, to get to the underlying reason for the cancer, trauma, all of the emotions that might be associated with it. So could that be an example too, like talking to your body?
That was really advanced. You're the first person other than me that I know who did that. I got stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, tell me about that process. So you did something similar because you knew about the power of the unconscious mind.
Well, yeah, went a little deeper. About 40 years ago, my spiritual teacher told me that something that most people have never thought of. He said, how, when the sperm and egg come together and produce a new cell, is it determine whether that cell should be an eye cell or a toenail cell? And I said, duh. And he said, there are parts of your self that are analogous to the soul, but on the physical level. And those are called basic cells. So when I discovered I had stage 4 lung cancer, I, of course, got the best medical help I could get. And after 14 months of that and chemo and so forth, the tumor in my lung was now up to 45% of the volume. And I said, okay, my unconscious, what should I do? And my unconscious said, duh, work with your basic cells. They're responsible for running the body. I did. It's very easy. You just focus on your heart chakra, which is a point the unconscious pays great attention to, and said, with the parts of me that run my body, please come forward into my consciousness.
Oh, I love that. Okay, this is really amazing, everybody. If you didn't hear that, go back and rewind that.
And immediately something popped into my conscious mind.
Okay.
And it was a feeling, it was a vague thing. And I said, are you a part of me that runs my body? And into my conscious mind popped, yes. And I said, what's your name? And it gave me the name. And I said, are you the only part of my body, the only part of me that runs my body? And it said, there's a second one. I asked it to come forward, and similar, it popped in. One was male, one was female. They asked me not to tell other people their name, but their ordinary names.
Oh, interesting.
And every day I got together with them. I gave them each a hug.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And well, they like that. And
yeah, they like the attention. I know just sending them love. I would do that. I would send my cells and organs love.
very important. And then I would say, please heal my cancer and any other disturbance in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that? And they said, sure. And I said, is there anything I should consciously do to help? And the first instruction was to go back through my life and to heal consciously any negativity, any negative feelings or judgments of anybody.
Ah,
And I said,
wow. Of anybody, that's a lot. Could be.
well, actually, the ones that popped up were all of my birth family.
Okay.
And it's really, I use my unconscious techniques, and now we're good friends, whereas we were at odds prior to that my whole life. They're all dead, but that doesn't matter. The soul lives on. And every day, pretty much, I talk with them. Now, the thing that you hit on that almost nobody else hits on is that you have the ability, the absolute ability to heal your body. Medication just imitate natural processes, as any developer of them will tell you. So you can bypass the medications and get the result. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, you're a scientist, so I believe you. You're an MIT researcher, and I'm really excited about what you shared. I mean, of curing yourself of cancer and this concept of cybernetic transposition.
There are really only three things in concept you have to do to achieve seemingly impossible results.
Okay.
The first one is to come up with a target of what you want to achieve that is both intellectually right, and that also, excuse me a second, my phone did something, that is intellectually right and intuitively right. Intellectually, it makes sense, and it feels just right. Seems just perfect for you.
For the target?
For the target.
Okay.
Okay. I'll talk about something specific in a minute.
That's fine.
The second thing is that you then prioritize that target. Now, a very crude way of prioritizing something in your unconscious is what you probably did in school when you learned your lines for school play. Repetition until an actor gave you your cue and your line just rolled off. your tongue. You have that experience?
I have taken an acting class.
Well, I bet you have.
I have taken a class, and one of the things we did in the class, I felt like was working on your intuition and reading others, because we would sit across from each other or stand, and we would look into their eye, and we would have to describe something about them. We wouldn't say anything, but we would like communicate psychically, and then tell that person something about their lives. And they were always accurate with me, and I was with them, it was so amazing. So that was my first experience with an acting class. But I didn't have to memorize lines or anything.
Well, I use psychic communication a good deal in my advanced work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll tell you about that in a minute. The third step is, in achieving seemingly impossible things, is to resolve self-defeating unconscious habit patterns that are kind of like mountains that get in the way.
Okay, so let me go the first two. We got the target, and what's the second?
Prioritization.
Prioritize. Okay, and then release belief systems.
No, the third is to resolve self-defeating unconscious habit patterns such as anger, or I can't do it, or I'm confused, I'm too tired, blah, 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 into self-supporting ones. Takes about half an hour in the beginning to permanently change those.
Oh my God, that's it. But I had a question, Stuart. Do you have clients? Are you helping people with this, or do you recommend that they read your book and do it themselves? Like, what is your offering that you want to offer humanity and help people?
Well, the book, Make Your Life a 10, is written so that I estimate about 40 to 50% of the people can accomplish it just doing what's in the book.
Okay.
But most people have self-defeating unconscious habit patterns that prevent them from learning from a book. Now, see, learning is demonstrated by a change in behavior. Most people read a book and they say, that's interesting, and they don't do anything with it.
Right. They don't take the action that you're recommending in the book.
Yeah. So, and I constantly get feedback from people who have read the book and implemented it and telling me their great successes. Of course, that's my intent. I also have coaching programs where I give live guidance. And once people experience being led through the various processes, they have a gut feel. Now their unconscious and their conscious mind are in alignment in how to do the various cybernetic transposition processes.
Because that's important to have that alignment with your conscious and unconscious to have the success, to achieve the target.
Okay. So now you were talking about psychic.
Yes.
My current project and my new book is about what's called leaping past Armageddon to a paradise on Earth.
Do you feel, is that implying that you feel like we're in Armageddon?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you how close we are to destroying humanity.
Not to bring you down, everybody, but it's important to be aware.
Yeah. There is a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, Chechnya, that is 6 times as powerful as Chernobyl was.
There is what? Can you say that? What's happening in Ukraine? There is something there.
There's a nuclear power plant.
Oh, nuclear power plant. Uh-huh.
That the Russians have captured, and they are constantly bombing the electric supply that is required to keep the nuclear core from exploding.
So so this is stuff that you don't hear about in the news, correct?
Well, you hear about it occasionally, but not generally.
Not generally. Okay, so the Russians have captured this and are blowing this up for a reason
No, they're not trying to blow it up, but if they make an accident, there could be a dirty nuclear explosion that would flood Europe with nuclear radiation. And
wow.
that means World War III. Henry Kissinger says, hey, we're already almost there. It is going through the same process we went through as humanity to get World War I, World War II. We're close to Armageddon. Take COVID. Now, some people think that was biological warfare went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it did, the process of having a pathogen, in this case, COVID, spread rapidly through the world was clearly demonstrated.
Yeah.
There are, what can I say? There are bioterrorists who can do the same thing. That's near the edge. Are we near Armageddon? You betcha.
Okay, so now let's get to the other side. How do we create a paradise on Earth?
The way that we do that is first make your own life a paradise on Earth.
Okay.
You'll unconsciously
Starts with us.
I'm sorry?
It starts with us. You're saying
Starts with us because when you take the next steps to be true, you need to feel your own life as a paradise on Earth. The next step is what I call awakening. I have a process whereby you build an unconscious team that will awaken the spiritual essence of anyone else at the unconscious level. Because at the unconscious level,
that is incredible.
It's what can I tell you? God gave me the process. God is love. Okay, so here's the way it works. Let me give you an example. July, August of last year, 22, President Biden submitted a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act that I considered really important for both reduction in global warming and survival of the U.S. You may not be aware, but the whole electrical power system is a makeshift bunch of thousands of interconnected small power distribution systems.
I believe it, but you're right. I'm not aware of that.
And it's very vulnerable to destruction. If, for example, hackers or other terrorists destroyed 5 of the links, according to various government sources, it could wipe out power for 1,000 miles. Think about what life would be without power, electrical power. No heat, no light, no air conditioning, no refrigeration, no cooking, because
It's like a third world country, or I mean, you see it traveling sometimes in China, Egypt, some places, Philippines.
yeah, and no policing because no communication, no fire because no communication, no fire protection, etc. It would be mankind at the edge of destruction. So here's what.
Or maybe we would come together as communities just to help each other, because we need each other if we don't have all the other stuff. Anyway, it's just a suggestion.
If there isn't enough food to feed your family and there's no way for you to get it except taking it away from somebody else, I don't think that humans, as we are now, are very likely to cooperate.
That's too bad. I feel like we could all come together and share
Oh, we
our
can.
farm.
We can, and that's what my Save the World process is about.
Oh, got it. Okay. We'll get to that.
So I was talking about back in last July, August.
Yeah.
The
bill.
The Congress, the House was split 50-50, Democrat, Republican. The only way a bill could pass is if all the Democrats, it were Biden's bill, all the Democrats voted for it, and then the tie would be broken by the vice president. The senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, said, I'm going to vote against it. It does not do enough to limit inflation. And the New York Times said, bill is totally dead, no chance. So I said, we better get to work. So I psychically first took my awakening team and 10 times rapidly just gave that to Joe Manchin psychically as a gift. I said, you want a gift? He said, sure. And I put it in his heart chakra. And I did that 20 times a day. That took a total of 2 minutes. Then I said, here is my imaginary experience of a perfect outcome. The bill would be passed in a way that greatly helped reduce inflation, improve the infrastructure of the United States, improved our economic ability, and could work in harmony. And I said, gave that to Joe Biden Joe Manchin psychically, and said, what do you think? He said 7. I said, what would it take to make it a 10 for you? And he said, a couple of things. Number one, my constituency in West Virginia is really suffering because of the drive to kill the use of coal, and that's their primary livelihood. So we need to do something about that. And secondly, there needs to be more fiscal responsibility in the bill. So I said, I can go along with that. That's a 10 for me. So we both took that imaginary experience, put in our chakras, said, this is the way I'd like things to be. Please make it happen in ways that are for the highest good of me and of all concerned. Joe Manchin and I. And I did that every day for 2 days. Second day, he said we should bring in the top Republicans. So we did, and did the same process with them. And it was 10 for them. Then the next day, a couple more people, and so forth. Then the fifth day, he said, okay, I'm going to announce that I'll support the bill in a week. And we continued doing it every day. And in a week, he announced, I am fully supporting and will vote for the bill. And
You did it. That's amazing.
And if you read back to the New York Times, it said this 180-degree reversal of Joe Manchin is a miracle. Unpredictable. We just had the budget, what shall I say, suspense, where we nearly defaulted.
Yeah, and he raised the debt ceiling, right?
Okay.
So speaking of that, let's bring it
the-
back to our audience. Speaking of that, let's see how can you help people rapidly generate money so we don't have to worry about those things happening.
Well, the 3 steps of creating a perfect target, of unconsciously prioritizing it,
Got it. So use the
And
same 3 steps. Got it.
and resolving the unconscious self-defeating habit patterns are really well explained in my book.
Okay.
Okay. This book, I wrote the first version of the book 23 years ago.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Is it based on your research?
Based on my research and based on God giving me packets of information during my meditation. I was meditating 2 hours a day, every day.
Mm.
And I then, for 20 years, have been doing my online coaching program where people have 100% success rate. I took all of that advanced knowledge and wrote this new book, Make Your Life a 10. And that is the first way I would suggest people try, because I just walk us through step by step with lots of illustration, examples, and explanations.
And would that be for everything, like finding a perfect partner, job, being a successful entrepreneur, multiplying your sales, like anything that you want, that's your target?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the only limitation I'd say on that would be some seemingly impossible things are going to come in steps because you have too many unconscious self-defeating habit patterns to make one big leap, like becoming an entrepreneur. That's a very complex process. And
yes.
Actually, I wrote a book on that. It ran 400 pages.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Because like for me, that it was a gradual process. Like I had all these ideas, but I was working full time for a company when I started my first business.
Yep. And wasn't it pretty much a trial and error process?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what I teach people about being an entrepreneur is to minimize the errors, to invent a perfect venture first step. Let me give you an example. I always try my processes on myself. I use them all the time. And when I invent a new one, I'm my guinea pig. So I just invented this process for entrepreneurs to invent their perfect venture. And I set an unconscious objective to invent my perfect venture in 3 weeks. Now, I relax by watching Law and Order on television. I'm in a Law and Order nut. And
I used to watch that, yeah.
And the second day I was watching Law and Order, and I remembered something from 40 years ago. I used to have a Newfoundland puppy,
Oh,
Andy. Andy was about 170 pounds, not too much a puppy, but he and I were best friends. He would come over while I was watching television and put his 25-pound head on my leg and look at me adoringly. And
oh, he
I
loved
had,
you unconditionally. That's what dogs do for us.
yeah. And so here I was, and I suddenly had this really concrete experience of Andy being there and having his head on my leg. And I said to myself, gee, wouldn't it be great if I could borrow somebody's Newfoundland a few hours a week just to spend time? I don't want to have a dog and have to take care of it and all that jazz. And the next thought that came in was, yeah, I'll bet there are a lot of other people who would like that. Next day it came in, and I'll bet there are a lot of dog owners who would like to be able to leave their dog with somebody who would give them a lot of attention, loving attention, while they go on vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that evolved pretty quickly into the idea of a venture, which I quickly named Pet Pal, ripping off from PayPal. And I went to venture capital. Friends of mine have worked with a lot of venture capitalists, and they said, it's a great idea. Keep working on it, put together a team, blah, blah, blah. And I developed it to the point where I did what any entrepreneur should do when they get a venture idea. I went looking to see if there is competition.
Yes.
I found one very crude example in England, and I found a parallel thing in Seattle, which dealt only with the find a place for your dog to stay. I couldn't find anything
got
else,
it.
searching the web and so forth, so I proceeded.
Okay, so how long ago was this, or what year was this? Do you remember?
This is about 4 years ago.
4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not that long ago.
And maybe 5, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, so the venture capitalist that was thinking of funding this was pretty hot on funding it. I put together a team, calls me one day and he says, uh-oh, problem. There is a venture in Los Angeles that's doing this. You couldn't find them because the only way they promoted was through social media.
Yeah.
And so I researched that and found they were 10 months ahead of me. And
Yeah, not that far.
oh yeah, that's a lifetime in a new venture of this type. So
Was it Rover?
no, Rover was the genesis that's become something else, another name. Yeah, that was the one in Seattle. So I tried to engage in a dialogue with the people who started this, saying, let's work together.
Yeah.
Have some techniques about psychically working with dogs, particularly puppies.
Oh, how sweet. Yeah.
But they weren't interested. So my venture for capitalist friend and I came to the same conclusion. Great idea, bad timing, kill it. Because if you embark on a venture that has the roots of failure in it, you're going to fail. You're going to put a lot of effort in and fail. And so first loss is the best loss. So I said, okay, I'd only invested about $20,000 in it, and so on. But the idea of inventing ventures is part of my training of entrepreneurs and described in that book. Now, can you do anything? There are a few things that I don't think you can achieve using this. I don't think you can use it to win the lottery because the odds of 300 million to 1 have two negative aspects. A, too difficult. B, you only can win by taking away from all the other people who are going to do it. And that's not spiritually appropriate from my perspective.
I see. It has to be for the highest and best good of all.
Yeah.
So what is Zen success to you?
What is Zen success? Is living in joy, loving abundance, enthusiasm, and fulfillment. Like, for example, finding your perfect partner.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to do. The first thing you do is reflect on your life. All the people that come to mind in your life that demonstrated at least one characteristic you'd like in your perfect partner. You write down their name, you write down the characteristic, and you write down a time when you experienced them demonstrating that. And in the case of my wife, there were 32 of those. One of them I remember was she had to be a successful entrepreneur. Because my personality is entrepreneurial. Yeah,
you have that mindset. Yeah.
Another one that came to mind that seemed absolutely crazy until I reflected on it came from the movie Mary Poppins. You ever see that?
Yes, of course. I saw the other one and the updated one.
You know where she takes this special measuring stick.
Yeah.
And her height on is perfectly, practically perfect in every way. That was one of the characteristics for my perfect partner. There were 32 of them, and she's a 10 on all of them. We have been together 17 years, and would you believe it? Every day gets better.
That is amazing. What a wonderful thing to say for the ending of our show. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you, hearing about your book, Make Your Life a 10. Very profound insights, actually. I found this interview so fascinating. I'll put your website and how to order your books in the show notes. So thanks for being on my show today, Stuart. I really enjoyed it.
A pleasure for me, and perhaps we can meet again when I put out my Leaping Past book.
Oh, let's do it. Absolutely. Have a blessed day.
And to you. God bless you.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey. And join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.